A huge shout out to the overthinkers. An overthinker. He watches the show.
To the overthinkers. Shout out my friend too.
Keep inspiring the next generation.
Shout out to the overthinkers. Much love.
To my overthinkers, Mamelodi, Mamelodi,
I'm stealing that. I've stolen that. I've stolen it.
Welcome, everybody, to the Overthinking Football Show. My name is George Mokwena. I am your host, and this is a show that happens every Monday to Thursday at 7 p.m., where I get to speak to you about South African football, and then every now and then we will go into Europe to speak about what is happening in Europe. But you know that this show is, of course, Monday to Thursday, 7 p.m. But then if Chiefs, Pirates, Sundowns, Bafana, Banyana are playing, we are going to be here covering it live. So, for example, this Saturday at 3 a.m., we're going to be watching Banyana versus Jamaica at 3 a.m. in the morning. And then later on, we'll have two matches between with Kaizer Chiefs and Mamelodi Sundowns also in action. Later on in the day. This is a very interactive show, so please feel free to jump in. What happens is I have panels, and those panels are each 25 minutes. And in the 25 minutes, 5 people will get 5 minutes to tell me a little bit about what they feel about whatever we're speaking about. This, of course, is a review show on a Thursday because we had some matches that happened. Mamelodi Sundowns played Maniema Union, Orlando Pirates played CR Belouizdad, and then Kaizer Chiefs faced off with Richards Bay, another Champions League team. No, I'm kidding. But that is how it panned out this week. So this is going to be a day when we're going to be speaking about those things and speaking about those matches and how you feel about it. Now, I'm going to start off with Chiefs. And I'm going to start off with Chiefs versus Richards Bay because, man, let's respect the Champions League, guys. I know we're gonna say a lot of things, but you know they are in the Champions League. So we're gonna start off with Chiefs. Chiefs, of course, played Richards Bay. The game was a 2-1 win for Kaizer Chiefs. 18 shots from Kaizer Chiefs, 5 on target, 12 shots from Richards Bay, 3 on target, and 52% possession for Kaizer Chiefs. Another win for Ukosh Nabi. It was looking a little bit shaky there. He's still 2 games behind everybody else. And currently, as it stands, Kaizer Chiefs is number 6 on the log, whereas Richards Bay finds itself at number 14. After all of the noise that was made about changing things, it didn't work out. Guys, I want to get 60,000 likes tonight. So can you please tap the screen and get to 60,000 likes? It is free. Just tap the screen. Remember, if you do want to jump in, please know that you have to be following me on TikTok and join me while I'm on TikTok for those who are watching on YouTube. Okay, guys, Chiefs versus Richards Bay. Request any chance. Let's jump in and have a conversation about what we saw. Let me just make sure that everything is working as it should be working. All right, let me bring in Glenn. Welcome to the show, my brother. How are you?
Sharp winner.
Nake markets, man. Makosi aipitla, man.
No, Bamagate, Mati, Gimadona Jalo, or Giribeiro na.
We won his one game, but welcome.
I gave me I have mixed emotions about it.
Yeah.
In terms of issue I'm third.
Yeah.
For me, he was trying to do too much. Because at some point you saw him pressing his first touch inside the box, he headed it outside. He was clearing for the opponent. So I think he's a man who's trying too much. Number 2, if you are going to play with against an opposition with quality, they're going to kill you on his space because he tends to press instead of being an anchor. Angere now go Chiefs because he's an anchor. People are going to press. It should be Mate. It should be Njabulo Blom. As an anchor, your first role is to stay on that 6th position. Not to say you shouldn't follow the ball, but you should follow the ball. Proximity level where are my 2 center backs? You should should something happen, maybe let's say bashiftile your left hand center back otokono mukhavarana. Mara at this moment ke bona motho no shiana fela no shiana.
Mara kupa ubutsa Glenn, kupa ubutsa. Is it Mtetwa or is it tactics cha Chiefs? Because we've been saying the same thing ka Njabulo Plom, Lena wa pressure at positioning. We've been saying the same thing about Obamart. Is it now maybe a time where we say, coach go and be an 8 more than a 6, go and press, leave your position?
I understand now how sorry is it a tactic achieve, because if you look at Njabulo Blomo Lemteto, there are two different profiles. Mteto is an anchor, Njabulo Blom is a Njabulo Blom. I get to categorize Mara, he seems to be enjoying moving around the field, especially when it comes to defending. So I think he usually tactics. But even though those are tactics, I'm so skeptical to such an extent that Chiefs it's not yes, we lack quality, né? But even though we lack quality players, I think we lack quality the information that is given to players. I don't know if maybe it's an issue here language or is an issue of football understanding. But I think Kaizer Chiefs there's too much to work on. There's too much to work on. Even if you look at our strikers, we have two strikers, Chivavairo, Dupres, two different profiles. But the information that seems to be given is an information how they must play alike. So what's the use of having two people who are different and you want them to play alike? So I don't understand. And then another issue that is pressing me, the issue of Sahili. We might take it as a joke, Mara Sahile. Let's say about him the better. Mara, I think the position he's being played on is being played out of position. Another thing again, what happened to Dusi Shabalal. Yes, he's a good player, né? Mara, I'm going to say this. His development was rushed. There are certain moments he should turn and face the opponent. He decided to go back. There are certain moments where you need to keep it simple. He decided to sharper passes. Sometimes one-to-one communication amongst players, telepathy, players achieve seems to be non-existent. All I'm saying, there must be a quality of information given to players.
Can I just ask you something, Glenn? Late in the game, Orebona Coach Nabi answer Marty, answer to Prizi. When they finally found form because Richards Bay was attacking, there was space at the back. Wabansa, Ukenya Bosaile, Ukenya what defender. Then Richards Bay scored and maybe could have gotten another goal. How do you feel about that last, let's say, 20 minutes?
The last 20 minutes was bound to happen at some point because you must remember we were 10 men down. Ne? So I understood his thinking, or he was thinking, let's lock the game and go away with the 3 points, because the time he had red card meant the points were no longer secured in terms of are we to rotate in the game, because normally if you have an opponent elongoro serious card ala ball olongoro is being paid well olongoro you understand what I'm trying to say, a professional coach, he will tell the boys go attack them because they are a man down. Mara, it seems to me like Brendan Trute is a man who is slowly saying goodbye to Richards Bay, slowly but surely. Yeah, why lie Richards
Mara
Bay?
Eliso, ufitla muto.
Yeah.
Ufitla muto. What's am I already?
There are certain people. What is there are certain coaches by long about mo bolonga. Kawato the free bargaining, the package got a ball, because I understand the contract that when terminated, they get a lot of money, a lump sum. So I think it's one of them. And another thing, Richards Bay has moderate players. You can do something with them if you coach them okay. So I don't understand the
in the last minute, Glenn, on Richards Bay, Figueiredo on the bench, Stebe on the bench. We saw the change that they made when they came in. I know one man down and all of that stuff. Why is it Richards Bay that they don't play these players, even though we can see that there's a change? How again?
What is it? There's a fallacy going around there. You must have a super sub. What's a super sub when you don't? When you're not winning games, super sub you Chiefs, so you can put Said on the bench and he must come up and try to chip the goalkeeper. Then we clap hands for him and say, "Come on, boy, another one." So this fallacy of saying players are super subs, it's slowly but surely killing the morale of these players, because even though Figueiredo comes in the game, then what? The team is poorly performing. There is no pattern whatsoever. There are no passing lines. The only player in serious coach is the captain.
Yeah.
The captain is so serious about the team.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah.
Glenn Fonako, let me go in and bring in Uprati. Prati. Prati, are you with me?
Bonjour.
Man, Prati, 3 points in Tlokile, Prati.
Bro, ke itumetse man. Tshwanetse re itumela re no wina fela gore re wine jang as long as 3 points e tloka gore as long as 3 points e tloka eseng ba bangwe ba jelo maloba ke ma jersey ba palwa le ke go ina game ya bona ya ntlha ko chef. But bro, I'm happy ka performance ya Maabane.
Okay.
Ke nagana gore like Richards Bay who bua nnete Maabane go ya ka nna ya re testa like Richards Bay a ke tsebe gore body language ya bone Maabane ba kene mo gaming ya Maabane a le ba ipankantse or ba di research or ba di le homework ka Chiefs because of Richards Bay go bua nnete Maabane ne fa Chiefs di spaces se di ngata mo ga especially mo gare mo le ne la tlhekile Richards Bay o no gona go bona bo Marte Maabane for the first time I think after a long time ke tlo go itumela Marte ke phela ke tsara mo ke complain ke re Marte Maabane gone ke kopa go mona 100% o ra lokile o dirile Chiefs gore e ralo ke wa bona gore ona gona go create nye gona go bona a dira di forward pass tse le gore khale re di batla cause ne re itse gore ha le Marte go tshwara mbolo a tsa bolo a ba batla di side way or a ragala bolo a batla boduba ko pele kwa Marte go sa di back pass but Maabane ai o ra lokile ke nagana gore o ka improve fela so re tla mo pagologa cause sengwe le sengwe o gona go improve but go bua nnete ne re sa testiwa Maabane le Ox ke mo itumeletse go mo bona ke nagana gore na tlo mo di position na etsa but ene o ra lokile Maabane o lokile na fa Chiefs sengwe but I'm disappointed ka ba re ke mang mfano ene ke a molemo ga ba re ke mang Mdudu Sishabalala Mdudu Sishabalala ai Maabane go bua nnete na se le mo for nna mare me a re lebelle game ka go tshwana I think Maabane na le off for nna because of Mdudu Sishabalala ga ngata ha ke mona since e thoma o raloka ha Serino a le gone ke gone mo ka re o a raloka and Maabane ke mo ka ba ipontshitse because of na le player ba re Marte ba mo protectile le Oxen ba mo protectile so ke nagana ke mo Maabane ka ba tshwanetse ka a ipona gaditse but o le no o tla gola but yo ke wa re tika ene ke Pule Modi Maabane go bua nnete I think o betho a ke decision making a ka bereka mo decision making le ene ya gago gore o tsena ya mo boxing ke nagana le ena ka improve but all in all happy for performance ya Maabane re tsamila even though gara tshameka bontle jo wa bona like the way re nyaka Chiefs dala ka team but no if a team wina tshwanetse re fe credit re sa tla fela mo re tla go lela re team e jelwe but ha e wina ha re bue sepe like le ko selong le front 3 ya rona ke nagana ha re ka bereka le front 3 ya rona ne ka front 3 ya rona ha re ka tseba go penetrate re tsena mo boxing like rana le combination ko front 3 ya rona ke nagana gore sengwe so team tse dingata re ka tswa ka sengwenyana position 3 position 4 re ka e thola because of ha rena quality le gore Sundowns le Pirates ena lone for compete but position 3 position 4 re ka tswa ka sengwenyana but for all in all ke happy ka ka nna ke nagana gore ka weekend tshwanetse re leke botoka against Royal AM Braotizo.
Okay. Mara, how some palena kore ke go botsa di question mara prati. But it's fine. But it's fine. Eric, can you still funny? Welcome to the show. How are you?
Fine. How are you, my man?
No, I'm good. Tell me about this game. 2-1, Kaizer Chiefs beats Richards Bay.
You know what? I'm happy for the win. Mara give me.
No means
From the starting lineup announcement, I was like, but then the game was sort of it wasn't as an entertaining match. Obviously, it's a league match and a league marathon. But you know what? I didn't expect Teto to perform the way he did. So kudos to that. For Mart to provide 2 assists, hey, they went to ZCC maybe, just to, But then honestly, looking at the side of Richards Bay, they didn't come to the game. I think they only rose after the substitutes and also the fact that they didn't test that midfield. Because I think in most cases, most PSL teams realize that once you can control that midfield of Kaizer Chiefs, you have a chance because our defense, as much as we have changed attitude-wise, there's some characters there and there, but in Alabo stage 1 load shedding, you know that Chiefs is likely to concede a chance once you can get over that midfield.
Yeah.
So, like, they weren't tested, so there was comfortability on the ball as far as Chiefs is concerned. But that old age thing that we've been going through for the past 18 months is that once they get to the box, there's not much penetration going on, especially when Serino is not there. So we end up going back to that helicopter football that we used to complain about. But kudos to Duba, kudos to Dupriez. I like they're not the quality that we want, but then I know that for Chiefs for now, I can trust them to do something. But good goal by Duba, good goal by Dupriez, but. I'm sure every Kaizer Chiefs fan, when Sile had that chance and he missed, we were just like, I'm sure we would have broken their screens because that was just frustrating. We were expecting some improvement from Sile, but then he keeps proving people's point. Or Mara, we wasted our time with this guy.
Can I ask you something? Let's speak about the discipline. Red card, Miguel last time. Red card, Tikamo, the red card went to Frosler. What's happening there? Because we get a lot of yellow cards there at the back, and especially when you're under pressure, man. Carry those boys back at some point.
And thanks for bringing that up. That the red card issue, that was so unnecessary because even by then you could see we went. Richards Bay were not gonna give us anything really. We weren't really tested. But you could see on several occasions, even the first yellow card, I was like, what is he doing? What is he doing? I think it's very unnecessary. And it's not like you're trying to physically grace your presence in front of the attacker because you don't need to do that. That's spans out the central defenders. But at the same time, the discipline is just, man, it's something needs to be done about that. But I trust that, the technical team can sort it out. It's only the second red card this season. As much as it's still early, I'll give it a pass a bit, but I'm disappointed, especially if they know Rene, man. I'm not saying we don't have any better right back than Frosler. Maybe I can give Solomons, but Solomons is all pace, but you know what? So now it's just a chance for Solomons the next game against Royal AM to show himself. Otherwise, it is going to be a pain in the butt, It's going to be a pain in the butt.
Can I ask, how long does the technical team have to ride on we trust they'll fix it, they're going to sort it out? Should there be any pressure on the technical team right now? Is there any pressure on the technical team as far as you see it?
What I can say... No, not really. Actually, this is my point of view. With Chiefs, in my point of view, we have lost patience on every coach after Steve Compel. We have ran out of patience. And I think it tempers boiled over when we started throwing objects at Athazwani and then Mulifenseki. That was just all pressure that has been building up to say, hey man, this club we've been promised so many things, but suddenly now these promises have just been, all lies and stuff like that. So obviously, being the coach of Kaizer Chiefs and going through a trophy drought and seemingly lost identity in terms of style of play, the fans will obviously they'll feel somehow because they'll feel like, look at next door, our next door, we are just a brand that is just growing on social media and all that stuff, and we create content for everyone. And I mean everyone, even the media. When we talk Kaizer Chiefs, it's a story now. So we know they can spend an hour on Kaizer Chiefs. That's all we are getting from Chiefs from the past maybe 10 years.
Yeah.
We see. So that pressure is there. But I think with Nabi, I think there's two factions where they're like, you know what, he's a quality coach. We just don't have the quality players. Can he get the necessary players that we have? I think January is a bit important, but also the next season, the winter transfer window on our side is just as important, because now if and we don't know, but if given the resources he needs to scout the right players, then next season there'll be much more pressure. So yeah, to me, Nabi, I can give him 2 seasons.
Okay.
I can give him 2 seasons. I can actually give him 3, but 2, but just to see if that after the first season was the improvement upon the first season. If there hasn't been, then it will be that cycle again that we go through since Steve Compella days.
Okay. For time's sake, I'm gonna jump in. If somebody's hoping for 3 years, it has to be someone that Agent is gonna speak about also, I'm sure, later on in the game, in the show. Agent, welcome to the show, my brother.
Please don't start me. Please don't start me. I'm just making my business. Can you talk about Chiefs? Please. Okay,
let's talk about Chiefs. Agent, welcome. Chiefs 2-1 win over Richards Bay. What did you think of the game?
That's the way to do it. Thank you. Good evening, Uti. That's better. I'm not surprised that they're not here on the show, eh? Some of us didn't even want to jump in. We waited because even yesterday they were 57 and Polokwan, but we were quiet about it. But anyways, Kaizer Chiefs. Let me start with Richards Bay. And let me misuse my English bundles because I feel like they'll go up in the next section. But I think, I don't know if maybe I don't explain the point correctly, or I don't know, maybe you can help me with a better term for it. Richards Bay is a rigid team. Like, the players are rigid. Like, I don't know if I'm the one who's saying it. Like, like, the movement, exactly, like to pass the ball goes them slow, they turn slow, they move slow, like everything is in slow motion, and it's a painful watch, hence when you have a what is this guy? It's the former Kaizer Chiefs player, Esitebe, and you're supposed to mix it up at least so that it becomes a bit better, and also justice also can also help, so I don't know what needs to be done on this team. I think you are allowed to be ambitious. You can be ambitious. Imagine going from saying you want to Rulani to going for Truta. Like, the gap is too much. It doesn't show a planning. At least go from Rulani, go to I don't know who, but someone in the middle. You can't go from someone who's going to be playing proactive football to going someone who is going to be defensive. What is the actual plan? And then on top of that, you can't tell me you want to take your team to the next level, you want to move away from relegation and everything, and you don't invest in the players. This is the same squad that went to the playoffs. So you can't tell me the same players are going to help you not go, maybe go to the top 8, for example. They're going to be in a relegation playoff again because the same group of people, and even worse, teams have improved. You know, so the management of Richards Bay is capable of homicide also, you know. Same like another team, but anyways, moving on from those.
But Agent, before you move on, I want to ask you, what is it about PSL clubs where they choose this defensive or pragmatic football and they want to do those type of things? But then if you look at Richards Bay in the second half, and I know Chiefs was down to 10 men, but when they made their changes, they started to brighten up. We saw under Coach Kanu a couple of times where Richards Bay was bright. They were playing. You could see that something was there. But if you look at Richards Bay, Amazulu, Royal AM, a lot of different teams, they have this thing, where they want to defend and only want to start playing when it's harder for them to come back into the game when they're losing. Well, I don't know what causes that.
You know, I always hear people saying, for you to be playing tiki-taka or piano and shusha, and you need to have players for it. And that is true. But also for you to be defensive, you need players for it. You know, I think that's one thing that is underrated with these PSL teams. You're going to be playing defensive. I think my case is a typical example of what I want to say. You want to play defensive. Do you have a Chirabantare? You know, do you have a who is this guy who scored?
Kakora, Makubu, Abrams.
Makubu, he said. So you have to have a plan that I'm going to be defensive, sure, but what am I going to do when I have gotten the ball now? You know, you can't be defensive and have slow players, you know, because if you're going to be playing long ball, for example, it will suit Unduntana because you're going to be playing long ball. But how do you play long ball? It means you have players there who are available to run off him. You know, he doesn't have to hold up the play and still he's the one who is supposed to play it again and still is only supposed to score it also. Who is helping him? You know, so I think every system needs its own players. So I think that's where the players where the teams are failing. And my guess is a typical example that it's okay to be defensive, but have a plan, you know, and have the right players for that plan. You know, so I think that's the thing. And also, I think we always make fun of coaches that they seem to copy page 11 of the old Sundowns manual instead of the home pages.
Yeah.
Same with PSL clubs. Have a plan. It's not just about the coach. Have a plan. What do I want to do? How can I achieve it? How do I have the resources? Do I have everything? Stellis, for example, you know, they have a plan. They have the structure. They have everything in place. It's a well-running machine.
Yeah.
Say what you mean about Supersport. I'm sure Supersport has probably the same budget as Richards Bay, for example. You know, but they know what to do. You know, they have the structure, they have the players, they have what. They know how to run it. You know, they have a plan. So have the same thing also. You know, I don't know which other team has a plan where you can see that top to bottom there's a clear structure. It's not about the money invested. It's not about, you know, the players, the quality of players that you can have. You know, everything. I don't know if you from on top of your head you can recall. You know. So yeah, I think that's where they got it wrong. That Richards Bay, you want to have a transition into being a top 8 club. Have you put in the resources? Have you put in the structure? Have you put in the development? Because your development is going to be needed, especially if you're not a Kaizer Chiefs or the top 3, for example. You know, have you heard of the Richards Bay development team? Where are they in the DDC? You know, so yeah.
For time, I'm going to keep you on because we're going to go into Sundowns. So, guys, if you want to speak Sundowns, please request now. I see PK is here, so I know PK is full on. If you want to speak Sundowns, please request and we can speak Sundowns. But before I go there, guys, please tap the screen. Let's try get to, I want 50K. And it's free. Just tap the screen. It's free. But also, kupari gift, guys. Kupari gift, man. Yeah, two riding. Okay. All I'll say about Kaizer Chiefs and Richards Bay is that I feel like Richards Bay didn't pitch up for that game. And I think by the time they started wanting to play, it was too late. And what was scary a little bit about that last 20 minutes was that Chiefs is as dominant, quote unquote, as they'd looked throughout that game. Number one, they didn't necessarily press them. When somebody gives you a chance, you have to hit them with everything you have so that it's a 4-5-0, make a statement, right? And maybe it was us missing that 10 that was able to play the ball through and make the decisions up high on the pitch. Cool. But then the scary part was in the last 20 minutes, Tet was losing the ball. Our right and left back are all over the place. Our center backs aren't communicating. It looked like it Chiefs Yakdala. And the scary part, or the Chiefs we've seen this season, and the scary part was that if they carry on, if they were to carry on and we find a team that plays a little bit better, what happens to that defensive structure? Because, hey, they were quite quazelling. But anyway, we're going to get into Mamelodi Sundowns now. Mamelodi Sundowns, of course, played Maniema Union. It was a 0-0 game. 17 shots from Mamelodi Sundowns, 5 on target. Maniema Union had 8 attempts, 0 on target. Sundowns had 77% of the possession. As it stands in the group, AS FAR is sitting number 1, and Nabi's former team. They beat Raja for their 3 points. And then Mamelodi Sundowns is second, with Maniema being third and Raja being last. The other scary part about this group is that AS FAR was the only team to score in this game in match day 1 of the group stages. So I want to hear from you guys. How do you feel about it, Agent? I don't know. Do you want to take a break? Do you want me to go to PK?
Hey, let me get it over with and exit this panel because
Okay.
My high blood pressure just went down through the roof. I don't blame that gentleman who says hi. The family is suffering, because of this team.
Tell me about it.
No comment on the game. Your question, please.
How did you feel about Maniema Union? Okay, let me put it like this. Makesi lost over the weekend. You're coming into this game. It has to be a statement game, I think. We see all the changes that were made. How do we feel about rotation? Then, outside of the game, how do you feel about rotation?
So here's the thing. I think if you saw me during the loss to Magesi, I was fine, I was fine with the Magesi loss. I don't know if people are seeing what I'm seeing, at least with this team. I don't mind losing, Shame. Like I said, I took when people were suffering, crying and everything, I was fine with the Magesi loss, But this one affected me because it had a deja vu moment where at first against Stellis, Program City in MTN, were like the players are trying to sabotage this guy, And then we have a game against Polokwane. We have a game against Maniema now. So now it's a pattern. So it means Sundowns is going to have games where it doesn't pitch up. For me, that is the scary part. What if that game is a game that we need to win? But okay, fine. Forget about games that we need to win. What if that game is a league game and with Pirates on form like this? How are you going to do it? So I feel like I'm more worried about that than the actual loss, that there's going to be games we don't pitch up for me, And again, my problem with Mangoba, hence I'm saying he must go, besides that we don't know what we're going to get from Sundowns, is this, that he seems not to read the room, he can't read the room. He seems nonchalant about everything, Like I saying, from a loss, we expect a bounce back. A disappointing loss for that match, a final for that match. So he seems nonchalant about it, And maybe on the game, let me comment about 2 players before I allow you to ask you the next question. Kodisa, I know people are going to attack sales because firstly, let's put it and be straight with it, he's a foreigner. Secondly, the price tag. But Kodisa and Shem, I don't know what he's offering us. He's overweight, he can't run, he can't finish, he can't run to spaces. We don't know what he's good at. Sales is a link-up player, I call him a bouncing ball. I don't know if you've played bouncing ball with a tennis when you're young, you play to him and expect it back, So you use him as a bouncing ball that I give it to him, get into space, and attack. I think he'll play well with the Uzwani, So hence you can play him with Ribeiro because Ribeiro needs runners. He wants someone who's going to run, but Ribeiro and Sales wants the ball on the feet. You know, so I think Zwane and him can combine. You know, so yeah, I think those are the only comments that I want to talk about. Yeah.
Can I ask? I want to stick on the rotation question.
Yeah.
Do you get the sense that when the Sundowns coaches, I'm going to bring Rulani into this as well, when it's now time for the actual rotation to happen, it feels like, man, we don't know about these other players. Like when things are going wrong, they rotate well when everything is fine. But when now they're under a bit of pressure, now we see Saavedra and Ribeiro playing with sales. What happens there? What is the problem where now, I understand rotation, but you rotate with a plan, but it doesn't seem like that there's a plan or that they understand the players that they're bringing in. If that makes sense.
It's like the substitutions also, you know, that looks like when they're under pressure, the substitutions are very strange. You know, for 70 minutes, you played with the same squad and you didn't think to bring in M.I.M., Shalulile, or a Motaung to push Marana up. You know, it looks like under pressure, these guys simply crumble, you know. And back to your question, you know, you have to have a reason for rotating. I'm for rotation. That, okay, if I rotate, obviously for me, I'm for partial rotation, and you convince me to appreciate full rotation, and I'm for it, you know, but you can't just rotate after a loss, you know. Sometimes you are on a bad page, a purple page, get 4 or 5 wins, then go back to rotating. You get, you know, so even under Rolando, was the same thing, that the games that you're expecting rotation, they don't rotate. Games that they're not supposed to rotate, they rotate. I think it's a case of they crumble under pressure because they're not used to having this kind of pressure. I think you always have soft pressure the way you have to go to a game, win and everything. You know, it's like Man City now. Man City is used to, we need to win by how many? Now is 4 or 5 losses in a row and a draw, and they don't know how to handle the pressure because it's a different kind of pressure. They're not used to it. You know, so yeah. Oh, thank you. Can I leave this panel?
No, it's fine. Hey, yeah. PK, we are PK.
Hola, Uti.
Agent, man.
No, you know this guy, I spoke to him when Rulani left, and I said to him, we're going to have a problem. Why do you fix it when it's not broken? I will just say that because in this age where Mangoba is, he feels like I have done it all. No room for improvement. He have his own philosophy, and sometimes it is contrary to what Sundowns want to do. At least with Rulani, you could have waited for a room of development. And sometimes we make fun of such things when he said, "Can you please give me time?" Almost went invisible. In the league, you can see we were having a direction. But I want to come back into this thing of you know, people say Mangoba is arrogant, and probably we must put that arrogancy into context. What do we mean when he's saying arrogant? Honestly, there is no need for you to try to prove to us that because Sundowns has a lot of players, you have to play them all. And put unnecessary substitution and put unnecessary rotation.
Yeah.
I can tell you one. Mokwena doesn't give us anything. Let us be honest. He doesn't give us anything. The player that is outstanding, it's Ribeiro. And how Sundowns plays, Sundowns know how to penetrate when Zwane is there. But if Zwane was there and Ribeiro was there, they were able to break. And with the runs, Sabo Morena on the side, they were able to continue and progress the game. But now you find Ribeiro, he is all alone. He won those passes, and people, they already know him. I don't know where is Allende this season. He's kind of lost. He's all over. And I don't know what is Mangoba trying to do, but I rather take Umkhulise or Neomayem for one reason. These guys, they know how to play 1-2s, which they can combine with Ribeiro. And in shooting, I believe that who's this guy? Neo is still good technically, can shoot. And now you can see sometimes Mokwena is like the Magezi game. Mokwena is just doing there because it's just been there because you know what? I just want to be here. You know, this player is bent out. He needs to be relaxed. I can tell you. We can see through this is sometimes he goes back to relax and play those 1-2 with Williams far. That's not the Mokwena that we know. And Obas is here. If you ask me about Obas, I don't know. We have good players in Sundowns. I think the problem here is combination. How do you combine them and push? He did great with the boy Letlaku. Letlaku is a star. I think if he was given a more time, you can see him, man. We are trying. I don't know. Maybe we are left with name tags. Abo Shalulile, Abo Sales, where you are supposed to finish ball. Then you decide to do whatever that you want to do, and it's not for the first time. 3 consecutive games whereby this guy had clear chances to score, and technically, I don't know whether he's there or he's not there. The honest truth is that we can see what we want to do. What we want to do is to play fast football. And sometimes when they are trying to do this tiki-taka mover, you will see Mangoba standing up and saying, why can't you go forward? But this is not the Sundowns philosophy. The Sundowns philosophy says we bring people to us, then we attack and we kill. So if you are doing this, sometimes they are, at the last minute, you will see them, and you don't know for what. Because this Sales cannot score. He doesn't have a tactic. I don't know. Maybe with Morena pressurizing on the side and trying to push those balls square. Maybe we can see this guy, but honestly, I see Ashapa header and doing something scary and say, yo, let's look out for this guy. I haven't seen that. But
Okay, can I ask, how much of this is man management? Because when I hear about Sundowns and I hear about Rulani, everybody speaks about he was such a nice guy, the players bought in. How much of this is player buy-in? Because I feel as though it's not like Sundowns is being outplayed. Mara, Ikare, that will to win or that will to want to go out in time and Khubali Soja is not there. Can we put it down to that as well?
Yeah, I think Mangoba is very strict. And in his strictness, players cannot express themselves. I think the problem of Sundowns is an expression. How do we express ourselves in playing and killing the game? Rather, playing what is on the board. Kick the ball. We want to accelerate the game, put that catalytic, and try to score. My game is just to score, but that's not me, right? That's not me. So you can see this. Let me see. If we have to engage. What is the difference between Allende now and Allende of Rulani? Right?
Well, because you see, the way I see it, and sorry, no, let me not jump in. No, make your point, PK. Make your point. Yeah.
So, and yes, I can tell one thing that Mangoba have done that we have seen it is bringing Ribeiro to his position. Ribeiro is excelling in his position now. But that's the only player that is outstanding for me. And I don't want to be biased about this thing of, but Allende is lost. These players are lost, man. And they are trying, I even miss Zwane because Zwane was able to say, relax guys, let's tic-tac, let's move forward. How do we progress from middle filter to go forward? And how do we, and sometimes he will even take those chances to try to shoot himself. Where do we find this thing? And he was helped by Uribeiro. He was helped by Mudiba. Mudiba was converting nicely in that position of shooting and breaking the defense. But now, nowhere Mudiba is to be found. Lauro Amofield. And it's like sometimes Khobata will prove a point or your natural position when Amudiba is left back. Your natural position when Amorena is right back. And therefore that's where I'm gonna put you. But how these guys used to rotate within Rulani's squad, you will see the potential and the vision of the club. This is what we want to do. This is what we want to give up. But now it's like arena vision, but because we can maintain the ball. That one is given, and we have confidence when it comes to that. But as for now,
Okay, PK, Ricky Kennedy, PK. Let me go to Gustavo. Gustavo, welcome to the show, my brother. How are you?
I'm good. How are you?
Hi, man. The 3 points was deposited, but we're speaking about Sundowns 0-0, Maniema Union. How do you feel about that game that Sundowns played?
Richards Bay was robbed. I'm joking.
Aye.
But yeah, I'm joking. Man, how I feel about that game. I will start here, Squad selection. I think I'm not sure if I mentioned it during the game but I've mentioned it some of the chance that I look at those players, I look at when those players were brought in, I look at the price tag of those players. I think all our international players were on the pitch. All our imports were on the pitch. All the guys we took from outside were on the pitch. You look at Bosales, Saavedra, Allende, Ribeiro, Ekodisang. They were on the pitch. And I look at it and say, is this really Coach Mangoba's doing? Is this really Coach Mangoba's doing? And yeah, it's a question you pose some other day.
Finally, someone's hearing me. Someone is hearing, but I think I'm good.
It's a question you'll pose some other day. Specifically looking at those players and looking at that 11 to be specific. It looks off, it looks shaky. For me, I don't think it's Coach Mangoba's doing. We might blame the guy, but personally, I don't think it's Coach Mangoba's doing. I won't mention names, but yeah, there's that aspect. Fine, those players are on the pitch. If it's Coach Mangoba's doing, why is your team so not balanced? You don't have a balanced team.
Yeah.
We are trying to create chances. Who are you creating those chances for? Because you have creators. One player is already playing out of position. You have a Kodisang that's used to playing on the right. You're already playing him on the left. The boy has been playing on the right most of his career. He's a right wing, has played most of his games from the right wing, has produced whenever has produced for his previous club on that right wing. He's not even a right wing, he's a right midfield.
I was going to say.
Let me put it like that.
Yeah.
He's a right midfield. Play the boy there, understand, play the ball there. It's not your runner, it's not your getting behind the line or what. Play the boy in that right mid position if you want to get the best out of the boy, not on that left. He has played a couple of games on that left, and from what I've seen, doesn't look good there. Doesn't look good. That balance, we have a Sales also a creator, Ribeiro a creator, a Kodisang who's a creator. You have Allende who can also create in that team. You have a Saavedra who can also create to some degree. So fine. Your front five, creative players.
Yeah.
What are you doing? Who are you creating for? You want a striker in the box. Who are you going to cross to? Because the guy you're putting inside the box is not a poacher. So by doing that, you look at it, you're like, come on, coach, you could have done better. You could have done better. At least add balance to the team. Add balance to the team so that everything is free flowing. And from this game, also reflect to the loss against Polokwane City. It has always been down to balance. Look at those two games, and it has always been down to balance. So whatever he did in terms of squad selection in that game, of play Bomkhulise, play Bomayema, start Bomayema, balance it out. As much as you want to play those guys, you cannot play them all at the same time. Already you have a non-starter in Saavedra, non-starter in Kodisang, non-starter in Nesales. 3 players. One, a khoza is a non-starter at the centre back position, whereby I feel the boy did well. I think our defense did well. You have a Divine Lunga, a non-starter. This is a CAF game. No matter how small the opposition, balance your team out so that you score as many goals as you can, get inside the boxes, even though they are playing a low block, create those chances. We saw it in the second half, whereby you were adding certain players, and those players were starting to give you that dynamic of having a balanced team.
Yeah.
So whatever you was trying And hopefully such mistakes don't get to happen, because whenever they happen, we get hurt. You know, whenever they happen, we get hurt. You know, and there's a person who asked, I think it's PK, did mention that, look at Allende now, Allende of Coach Rulani. Allende of Coach Rulani was a different type of player. This looks like a confused player now, especially in terms of his overall game. He would give you more dribbles, you know, good on the ball, never loses the ball that much, recovers the ball properly. You know, he wasn't playing as much long balls as he's doing now. You know, he'd play more crosses than long balls. He'd get into positions whereby he'd play more crosses. So there's that, OT. There's that in terms of selection, starting 11. And yeah, you can ask your question if you have a question.
Hey, it's Kati, man. It's Kati, Gustavo. I need to.
Yeah. There's that. Isikhathi ngathi sijwele uqeda kuphuma lana.
Mara, okay, let me give you a minute. This is what I want to ask. Wasn't this bound to happen? Because there's a lot of things that are coming together at Sundowns that, you know, there's Coach Mangoba. Is he the guy? Do they trust him? Do they like him? If I was pro Rulani during the time of the head coaches and the demotion, will I play for Mangoba, number one? Number two, there's all of these players who are being brought in. Maybe they're not players that are being brought in for a specific coach. Rulani was complaining sometimes, allegedly was complaining about some of these players that are coming in, and now you're forcing me to play these 50 million rand players, even though Angbafuni, Angbakelana. Then you have, after that, you have Ukosh Mangoba and his tactics, because he wants to change how they play. I'll give my idea of why Ireland is different, but aren't there just too many things happening at the same time as Sundowns, man, at this current moment?
It's a lot. I feel like there's a disconnect between the players and the coach. There isn't that love. It's more of a professional relationship. If you look at it, it looks more of a professional relationship. Where are those hugs that Jordaan used to give players? Score, go celebrate with the coach. Now players are celebrating alone and stand. You know, there's that disconnect. There's the issue of players. You know, there's the issue of players. These players, are they really the type of players? Look at yesterday's players. Judging from how Coach Mangoba wants to play with runners. Is Saleh a runner? No. Is Kodisang a runner? No. It's not for him. You know, it's not for him. So it's just a lot. And it will affect Coach Mangoba, even if you're a pro Rulani. But this will affect Coach Mangoba, aside from his own tactics. It will affect Coach Mangoba, because some of the tactics, it looks like some players are not understanding. It looks like
sometimes
he looks lost at times, you know. It looks like he has pressure on himself, you know. And what he says in conferences, story for another day. We defend him. I've defended him too much. I've reached my breaking point in terms of defending him. Sure.
Okay, no, thank you, Gustavo. Let me bring you Sugar Spice. No, I'll give you your time. Welcome. How are you?
You, my brother.
My
brother has a problem.
Yeah. Must get
Now, Gustavo. Mamelo Gustavo now la hambi. Yabona ukhulele kasi. Yabona ukhulele kasi uyi out eshaya abantwana. Bazokushayela ichair yakho A1 or side bench bese ungaphatheki grade. That is what is happening with Sundowns. Abantu be-Sundowns, they are not used. It's not on their DNA ukuluza, yabona. Let alone ukuthi they are no longer playing that brand of football that was displayed during his Rulani, yabona. So masengithi ngiyachecka grand, like even bengichecka nje kancane before ngena vele kule lokhuza ukuthi even the coach le lokhuze eMayema Union ishilo yathi we watched Sundowns playing against the Chiefs on an opening game of Ilokhuza between premiership. So uthi mina, what I've said to them, we watched that game with Nama players. Then on that spot, he then decided to tell Nama players, this is the only way that you have to play against Sundowns. Let them have the ball. Oh, Mamela, like the very same thing that is happening with Manchester City is the very same thing in no time as Obama Sundowns. Now teams they they prefer not to have the ball, but a transaction, they will hurt you. So if you can check, now I think now it's an era where if you are a coach, you still rely on ball position. Abantu ngifungela angazi noma it's a system esebenzisa bangathi checker. I don't see Sundowns. Okay, umanqoba bangamblame, but what I can say to them is that they need to understand the fact that abantu manje, they can plan easily for a club that has a position. It's happening kulo khoza. Rulani used to pride himself because his mentor was Pep Guardiola. Look at what is happening with Pep Guardiola today. It's the very same thing that is happening with Sundowns. They will allow you, most of this team, they will allow you to have more than 75% of the position. But there's no way that you uzovuka. That's why I'm saying with Sundowns, I know why bam protect but now in no time bazokhathala.
But then Shaspai, tell me, do you think there was a plan in place mabafaka umanqoba? Because for me it feels like we're gonna go look for a coach and do whatever, but then now you are seeing Gutiman, there wasn't a plan here really.
No, you know
that harming Sundowns.
No, when I was looking at the starting lineups of Sundowns, you could tell Uguti also there was an element or isandla se local technical direct. Like you could tell Uguti, we are paying these people a lot of money. We bought them with many millions. So these people, they have to play. And you could tell, how can you play Vert, Kodisang, khoza, and off form mokwena?
Yeah.
But it also raises eyebrows. Mokwena is performing bafana. But when it gets to his Sundowns, the very same thing. If you not divert, look at Ungezane while he was still playing for the Kaizer Chiefs, and look at Ungezane now.
Yeah.
So like in terms of it's unfortunate to Mangoba as a assistant coach. He saw it easy, because I've been there and done it. Under Pitso, under Rulani, we were once co-coaches. But now, in reality, says, Mangoba, Sundowns is too big for you. That's a reality check for him, which has it for you. As much as you were willing to be a head coach at one day, now you are given an opportunity. But you will fail this. He will fail this man. Mangoba will fail this man.
Okay.
But I know Amachita from Amachita, yes, they will always protect him. But Mangoba, there's no Agukola Mangoba Zobaisako.
No, sharp, Sugar Spice. Guys, if you'll allow me, I just want to give my thoughts about the situation at Sundowns. And I've done videos about this. I've been doing videos about this. There's a couple of things, right? So there's Sundowns, what Sundowns was, and the Sundowns now. So there's a Sundowns that was bottom up. So that means that the coach told the club what to do. Coach Pitso was the one who built the structure up to wherever. You guys just have to support the building. He has the final say. We know what happened to the technical directors that have gone through Mamelodi Sundowns during Pitso's time. They didn't stay long. Now, you have Pitso's three, for me, which is Abo Coach Mangoba, Abo Coach Rulani, who have ran in a Sundowns that is run a specific way with certain powers that they have when speaking. So now Urlani, when he would sign the players, or he would tell the technical director to say, hey, my guy, hamolanda lo, we've done our research, we've done this, let's play. So now where Sundowns is right now is that I believe that they're trying to change the way that the club runs fundamentally and become a different kind of club. But the problem is that you're still dealing with you're still dealing with the remnants of the old Sundowns. And where this harms a coach like Ukosh Mangoba is very simple. Ukosh Mangoba was there. He was here with co-coaches, with Ukosh Rulani. You chose to demote him. He gets demoted, but then also Rulani, in his running, went and created strong bonds with these players. You could almost feel a separation between Mangoba, Rulani, and then there's Rulani people. So now when you bring in Ukosh Mangoba to come and coach this team, there's different things you have to look at. What is his relationship with the players that are currently there? I believe that every coach should be allowed to bring in their players, number one, because firstly, you're dealing with the fallout of players that maybe didn't like you like that. Abo Tembazwani, when they were speaking, no Rulani, Abo Mokwena feeling important and doing all of those things. Now, Ukosh Mangoba, with his management style, comes in and he first has to bridge that gap. And he doesn't have months to bridge the gap. So now when he comes in with his strict style, how do those players approach him? Also adding to the fact that maybe you don't know how management views Mangoba in this situation. Number one. Number two, tactically, on the pitch, if I'm changing styles, there's going to be fallout from me changing styles. Do you know why Allende doesn't play well in this Mamelodi Sundowns? It doesn't seem to be playing well. Allende doesn't seem to be playing well because Coach Rulani's system was a protection system. So Coach Rulani's system was to make sure that everybody's strengths and weaknesses are covered. Allende doesn't have to do tracking back work in Coach Rulani's Sundowns. Allende, under Coach Rulani, gets to roam the pitch there in the middle, knowing that Tebza and Kutsia will do the dirty work of tackling, of pulling people, of winning back the ball. Then when Allende drops in, you've got Aubrey who can come in. You've got King Zwane who can drop back. So they are protected by these two. I call them bodyguards. But then they also have other playmates to play. Ukosh Mangoba is an older school coach. And older school coaches expect you, how do I explain it? Older school coaches want you to be, would much rather have players that are a 6 on attack and a 6 on defense. That means that I've got an average. I know that I can drop you into the midfield. We won, and you'll be able to do the job. If you think about Abo Chali, Abo Papi Zotwane, those type of players in the middle who they can play to a degree, but they can also defend to a degree. So there's a balance. You can leave them alone. Now, when these guys are left alone, you start seeing that Allende is more of a ball player, or is more of he's an engine with a ball playing thing. Now, when you ask him to go and defend and you move him around, he loses himself because maybe he doesn't have those other qualities. You start seeing Mokwena having to do a little bit more in the midfield, and now you're seeing that he's got a weakness here, that maybe now that weakness has been exposed. And old school coaches, all of us have played under 4-4-2 coaches. All of us have played under old coaches where, as a midfielder, you're expected to be able to defend and attack to a degree, depending on your role. As a defender, we may not want you to play the ball out, but you're going to be a defender. We're not going to ask you to do too many things. But anyway, there's so many things that are coming together at Sundowns right now. Where I look at Coach Mangoba here, I say to him that, Maranawe coach, you're not doing yourselves any favors. Because what I'm seeing from this Sundowns is the same issues that were cropping up with Ukosh Rulani towards the end of his run. So he had players, but then he was complaining about fatigue because he had not rotated those guys properly. But then when he rotates those guys properly, it almost feels like I am just resting. I'm resting these guys. Guys, I haven't had time to do anything with you guys. Please come in. So when you see a starting lineup of Williams, Khoza, Mokwena, Kekana, Lunga, Morena, Kodisang, Saavedra, Allende, Sales, Ribeiro, you can ask simple questions. Who's going to score in this team? And is Ribeiro going to be fine playing on the wing to allow Sales to play 10 in order for Sales to be the guy that passes the ball in, which is where we've seen he's been a little bit strong. And if Ribeiro drops into the 10, where does Sales go? Because Ribeiro's here, you've got Sales right in front of him. Then you've got Korisang, who doesn't even play that football. He doesn't even play that. You go into the midfield, Saavedra and Mokwena. Can that work? And if you've got those two in the middle, does that not displace Allende? Now, Allende's roaming around all over on the wings, trying to find game. He's no longer central. Then you look at the actual build-up of the team. The goal that Ureina scored versus Makesi was how Sundowns had been playing the games where they've been successful. Ribeiro in the 10, you've got two guys in front of him, they run like this, or they run in between the centre backs and the right backs. Korisang's not doing that. Sales is not going to do that. So what happens then? So I am for rotation, but I am for rotation where you go, okay, even if I don't bring in all the players from the first team, let's look at the profiles. Let's look at the profiles and see how these guys match up with each other. Does it make sense? And that's why I think Coach Mangoba might be losing it on his side, might be losing it. And it's a funny pattern. The reason why I say it's a pattern is because we saw the same kind of things when they're under pressure. When Sundowns coaches are under pressure, whether it be game pressure, whether it be the game, how important the game is. Rulani was incredible rotating first half of the season. Mangoba was incredible with rotating in some of these games. Yeah, he lost a couple, but in some of those games, you could tell that, oh, fine, yeah, you've thought about this. But now that he's under pressure, why would you make some of the choices that you're making? It doesn't make sense. And all of these things, guys, I believe, it's just that Sundowns is in a place where they are making a very big move, a departure from what Sundowns was. They're changing everything, the structures in the back, the development, M Tigers, they're doing all those things. And now it's just about properly separating. Hi, Mangoba, Steve, you guys, it ends here. Now we're going to bring in coaches who are not going to have a big say in the club. They're going to come in, and then they're going to be contract workers. You come in, we've scouted you, you do your job, 2 years, you leave. We don't want to hear about signings from you. The scouting department has changed. We don't want to hear about signings from you. We don't want to hear about style of play from you. Where now and then you go. So that's going to be a very interesting thing. But anyway, guys, we're going to go into Pirates now. So I'm going to give just a little bit of time. We're going into Pirates. So if you want to talk Pirates, who played CR Belouizdad for a 2-1 win, please request now. If you don't want to talk Pirates, please jump off. Because we've got three things we're going to speak about, there's going to be a little bit of time later on after we speak about Pirates now. So I'll allow people to come in and maybe give me a minute or two about what they think about whatever we've been speaking about today. So, but for now, we're going to go into Pirates. Pirates. So please request if you are going to speak Pirates. Pirates played CR Belouizdad, the Algerian team, where Khanye Samayo plays. They beat them 2-1. The stats say that Pirates had 9 shots, 4 on target. CRB had 20 shots, 3 on target, and they had more of the possession. As it stands in that group right now, Ahly is number 1, having won their game versus Stade d'Abidjan 4-2. So they've got 3 points. Pirates has got 3 points owing to their 2-1 win versus CRB. And then CRB and Stade d'Abidjan are then 3rd and 4th respectively. That is how the group is looking. Let us talk about Orlando Pirates. Yeah, sesithethile Chiefs. So let me let in some people so we can speak about Pirates specifically here. And then later on, after this, I'll let people jump in and we can have a chat about whatever one of the topics you guys want to touch on, or whatever one of the teams you guys want to touch on, and we'll take it from there. So let me just get some people in. While I do that,
Buff.
Hey, I went back man.
I think that's a soft life.
It's soft life. Umlando Orlando. Velile, CR Belouizdad 2-1. Uthini game?
Oqala nje ukugcwalisela emazwini kaSugar and Spice laphayana. The reason kuba buhlungu kakhulu mabakudlela inyatso ukuthi angithi siqhoma ngazo ejwaleni so wonke umuntu uyazijola nayo so inkinga ukuthi siyazi ukuthi emvemvane iyazi ukuthi bangishaye ngestina so
Ebara. Hey.
Lokho ngabona aba-out bawangena etshwaleni aphethe abantwana bashe bayakhukhumala man and siyazi ukuthi hayi abangakulimaza nabo kunzima ekasa utjani bakayaphila kodwa
Ikudla more than uMrs. But anyway,
angithi bazizwe lonke phela
Benile 2-1 man uthini ngale game.
No hayi ngibingelela abafowethu ngibingelele nalapha yana abonobhala ngapha eceleni yabo laba ababhalayo la
Yeah.
angeke ngikhulume kakhulu ngomdlalo just uku-highlight nje some few points and mistakes lawa that just need to be fixed moving forward.
Okay.
Ngiyabona nawe kulamalanga songena umkhuba kaSithibo mawukhuluma ngathi ubala nama-stats aba-short on target and short on what yeah
Wonke ama-team.
akunakinga so first of all the reason why we recognize Motaung as the best right back in South Africa, what are his qualities? Because we know how Motaung plays. He's good in defending. Angeke uzudlule. Attacking, we know he's not that good. That's why we regard him as the best right back. How do we regard Hot? Is he the best left back?
No.
Because on the primary function and responsibilities of the left back, he's failing them. And also, if he had even to move forward, at sometimes Lamalang, I don't know what went on. He ended up like because there's nothing that you do even normal. But sometimes he can go past all the players. He cannot even cross or dribble, try to nothing. I went next.
Yeah.
So it's like that is difficult to describe his contribution and be specific, because I argue with most of the guys that say, I mean, I can call me also. I'll call for Umayela. Umayela, we played with him go final Nedbank. We played with him go final Namajmt, and he's the one who started there on that left back position. And in terms of defending, when we are playing there, regardless, Pambili, that's not his strong points moving forward. But God Zegile Aya Pambili Umayela. Umayela will give you a cross as a Pirates player on the 18 area. He was the one who gave the pass, created a penalty to Nedbank Cup, got Gugutito. So how do we balance these things? Because we have to balance, because I'm going to judge a player based on the primary responsibility. And so far for me, Umayela is doing that on left back. And I felt even in our previous game, he was needed because those guys were throwing those aerial crosses, especially from left or right, even most from our left-hand side, and gain a boxing. And of which sometimes Umayela even helps us aerially in terms of defense and head. And also, you look at the goal, the corner kick. It was necessary for even to do that. It was unnecessary. So, Asazi, but I'm just saying that position needs to be looked at, and you either take it to Yambusela Umako, you quote him if we was left wing, which means he must fight for a position on Mfukeng. Each one of them must stay in the bench. Or you get another left back of you believe. But I believe Umako can do that. But those are disadvantages in most of the CAF game, because most of those players teams they relied aerially, of which now if we do that asinaye and the asina themba elingako mhlambe kumthetho and noxoki mhlambe recover, we are left with ubhodlela nosesane. Sesane aerially uyafambula. He's coordinating, he's akakhona ukutimer the processes. If ubhodlela, that's why he was working overtime on that game. But it's okay. I think it's something that needs to be fixed moving forward, especially on CAF games. But nakhona la ekhaya, because sometimes if we're going to play teams against Supersport, Cape Town City, even Stellenbosch, we are going to be exposed in that position. But it's fine. And moving forward, foot Nakona also. Midfield, Abombata, they just need to pick up their socks and they need to show authority, man, on their positions because the position that he plays, it needs that a person who's going to be confident. Have you ever seen Uchal Magapeti ball? Like if he ball saying there's nothing you can do. He believes in himself. I'm not saying he's a bad player, but I'm just saying he need to show more confidence. And I know sometimes Urasibuja can play that position. Was also is good on the feet, but forward Okomelon.
Yeah, for time, Belile. For time.
No. I know, but personally, I just feel good that sometimes Umufukeng is doing much better when he's coming inside, like into a 10 position, like Magasekeleni. I just feel he's more. He's got more dangerous touches as compared to Utito when he's coming inside to a 10 position than when he's on the wing.
There's a question I want to ask Mareskati. Hey, Mar. Actually, let me see. Maybe I can give you a minute for this one. How much of this? I want to ask you for this last minute. Do you think that Pirates, this was a good game to teach Pirates the African football in terms of some of these teams are dead for 80 minutes. And then all of a sudden, last 10 minutes, up north, yes, last 10 minutes, what I want to, they're waking up. Do you think that Pirates handled their first test well in that regard?
Taking into consideration, it was an away game. I think it was a good test for them, for most of the players, because you can see who, Tingbon, I got before in Champions League. Preliminary, like in group stages, there's no player who has been there. Most of them is their first experience, so I think it was a good experience considering we are playing away. And in the first 30 minutes, we play our normal game. We relied on the speed, the normal game that we normally used to play when we are here. We're not intimidated in that phase. And by 30 minutes also, we should have even scored 4 goals. Imagine in 30, we should have been 4 goals. Nkota should have just buried the second one, that one. So it's a good thing. Play impose your normal system that you used to play regardless of away. But then when you are leading now, come second half or whatever, you also need to learn and adjust to the system of just protecting elite. By protecting elite, not like moving like it would ube deep in your defense. No. Keep position, plays around and just try to catch them on the counter.
For time's sake, I'm gonna jump in. Let me go to Malume Kutso. Thank you, Mtakababa.
Now ungajabuli kakhulu kodwa ngoba hayi le team bodlana izolo hayi.
Ngiyekele. Malume Kutso. Hey. Malume Kutso na akafuna ukungena abantu.
Ake velile nza usaqedelela
uqedelela ilinako yaqedelela man. Malume Kutso.
Imikhuba yePirates ikora ngama 95. Nasendelela ku 95.
Lewin Malume Kutso first game out in the group stages. How do you feel about the game?
Mr. Uti. Ngitshela uvelile no Sam ngithi yitswe. Leo uvelile seyithi hey asina depth asina experience ngithi isplanani isinonkotha nomfukeng. Leo uSam seyithi hayi mina ifuna ukubheka off ngiyayibona yabo. Yayitshela ukuthi awungitsheli lokho. Awungitsheli lokho. Niso uthi ibhakani yalashisa. Ibhakani yalashisa bashilo abantu bathi asina experience. Hey shota ngento eziningi depth isolimala Mr. Uthi. Now I'm sure maybe about depth. But Unkota is not depth. But Umfukeng is not well maybe Umfukeng be consideration. But I know players like Abu Nkota, Abu Mfukeng, Abu Sesane. I mean Abu Sesane and Abu Munyane were not counted as depth. And they are delivering, Mr. Uti. Well, they delivered against the CR Belouizdad up there, up north, Mr. Uti. And Motaung CAF. I'm a trusted Mr. Uti Gunzima at home. I'm a trusted Gunzima at home. But I'm sure they will bounce back.
Yeah.
It did show at some point with Arsenal experience. when I saw how Umbata lost the ball. I expected more from Umbata because he's played for Bafana. He's been up there. But when you look at the profile of teams he's played against for Bafana, I think it's West African and Central teams. And not necessarily North Africa. Yeah, because in Bolela Pama standing Mr. OT. Hey, say what ready, say one shani, say pumuntutu. And the more we scored, the louder they got. You understand? About Mr. OT. And the more we scored, the higher they jumped. So we are born with a support. There was just bonus and that's a South African with it team we support aganje. Just you don't boo your own players. Maybe you'll boo them after the game is petty, but during the 90, you don't boo, you don't spin hands in the air and say umuntu makapume. All you do is you play your part as a 12 man. You don't play against the team. And we saw it, Mr. Uti. We saw my player, experienced players like Abohoto. Bakachazela baluza mapola, Mr. OT, Miss Q. The trusted players, I'll repeat, trusted players like Umbata passing into space, you understand? The trusted players like Abotito running into a space where there's no one and he finds himself isolated. That speaks to the psyche, that crowd was playing a part. It was a real 12 men. You understand? We usually say hey, 12 men, yes, Caesar. But I think when CR Belouizdad supporters came to the party, we saw what a definition of a 12 men is. However, the nice part is that we learn having not lost.
Yeah.
You understand? We learn having got secured the 3 points. We learn these things on the road, Mr. OT, unlike learning through a 5-0 beating.
Yeah.
Good feeling, Mr. OT, you know. And what I like is that the mistakes were also obvious. The mistakes were also highlighted in a sense of OT. Belouizdad got so many shots, Mr. OT. I know it says 3 on target, but khona lile lidlulela phambi kwepali, Mr. OT. Sibuke usha umthandazo kancane. Counts as off target, but it was inches away from being on target, Mr. OT. So I think it speaks to their issue. I don't know if Mtetwa is registered, Mr. OT. I will die on that hill to say I need Mtetwa, I need Kogi, I need Nda for certain games, Mr. OT. I mean, we played against Suleimani, Mr. OT.
Yeah, Suleimani.
And they were pumping those balls, Mr. Uti. I'll take it back to you, Bafana. How many teams cross balls against Bafana?
Not many. As far as it's really the North guys only.
Even them, Mr. Uti, they doubt sometimes because when they look up these days, it's Ngezana. You're like, okay, I'm giving the ball to you, Bafana. You know, whether Ngezana is actually good or totally is actually good in the air is neither here nor there. The fact that when you look up, you can't even see your own striker. The only heads you see are Bafana players. Makes you consider other avenues, Mr. Uti. But manje, if you are a good header off the ball, Sesan is winning all the headers. Smith is winning all the headers. But every time I look into the box, I see Suleimani raising his hand saying, Lbegela. Like, I'm going to be tempted to keep playing those crosses, Mr. Uti. And it pressures my defense. And I was so disappointed when we made a sub. Sitonsa, one of the wingers, one of the attackers, and we put in Umahako. I'm like, coach, we are under siege from aerial balls. I get it. We trust these guys, but these Algerians are just coming to the aerial ball. And your best response is putting in Umahako and removing Uhoto, who is not the tallest player, but was the tallest figure for us. You moving him away from the box. I was like, no. We have a serious issue here. You know, Abo Van Rijn, like I always say, I like players like Abo Van Rijn and Abo Marco, but there's a serious disadvantage, Mr. Uti. And how did Belouizdad score?
It was a corner, wasn't it? Corner, high ball, Mayo header.
Into the net, Mr. Uti. And the thing is, you'll be attracted to the taller guys. And man says free. Says I hate Allah. But you know, Mr. Uti. So we really have to find a cure. And our players like Abon Coach and Abo Mfukeng are gonna have to put in a shift defensively to make sure that those crosses don't come in.
That's what I wanted to ask you. I wanted to ask you 2 things. I wanted to ask you firstly, how can Pirates, knowing that maybe you don't have the height, how do you set up in order to stop the aerial balls? Is it something where, because you can't stop it inside the box, maybe you stop it at the source? And how do you do that? And then number two, this is going to happen a lot in the Champions League. Last minutes, they're going to throw everything. We know how a lot of Champions League teams play. Carry last minute. Is it something that Jose can also work on from that point of view? That maybe how do you stop other teams from being dangerous at that time from the front? How do you basically manage the last 20 minutes or last 30 minutes?
The first one, ukuhlaba uOlisandanga manjection serious. That's the first solution. That was over and kuyavuza la move.
Yeah.
Because the players are bad. The players are actually very good, but we need your presence here. You understand? The second one, I could say but press up front, But I think the most important one is to retain the ball. But ball, circulate the ball, make them look for the ball. Make them tired, Mr. Uti. They must chase that ball. You've got skillful players. And unfortunately, right now, we've got more direct approach. As waste these cards, pasanga peli. Misilbamba just hallelujah kore, You see a forward run, a very direct run, and it's working. Nomfuki, I see, is also picking up the direct run. Tito is also picking up the direct ball. They're really playing forward passes. I think Baba Chiluguti washai back pass 10 push-ups like which you mean, so it's properly drilled into them,
Yeah.
But I wanna say over press up front, but I remember seeing MS Merendop, Mr. OT.
Yeah.
When he almost won the league. Kona lengwenya batu Sasman. Lengwenya be crosser Mr. OT sa Afine Chiefs.
Albegela.
Cross the boxing. Yeah, from me, I finish Chiefs cross the boxing. Uchosh Maluleke bega crosser. It's not a cross, but hear me out. Bega crosser from the center circle. Across the boxing from the center circle.
Yeah.
It's a pass, of course, but I'll just use the term cross just to give it a picture. You kind of it was Sassman.
Crossler used to be good at it.
I think Manyama as well.
Yeah.
There's one other player I'm forgetting, but begang feel Sassman, Mr. Uti.
For time's sake, I'm going to jump in. I meant it more, Maleme Kuto, in the sense of there was a game where Chelsea played Barcelona, and Torres said, "Hey, I was playing right back." The coach said, "I must play right back," and maybe stretching the side there, and maybe making sure that you've got 4 in the middle, but another 2 on the side just to maybe stop the cross from there. But that's more of how I meant it.
Well, I'm saying yes, you can. Ufagi personnel lapha move with drop. I remember even Eto was dropping to left back position. But if you're dropping far and you are presented with a Sussman who doesn't even want to get down to the byline, starts crossing from his own box.
Okay.
For
time, let me bring you Blackberry. Blackberry, welcome to the show. How are you?
Sure, bro.
How did you feel about the game? Pirates CR Belouizdad 2-1 win.
Yeah, firstly, I want to say this. As fans, we need to understand in football, we view football so we are very sinama opinion way.
Yeah.
Understand? So the way we view football is the fan side and the analyst or the coaching side. Understand? And I fear most of the decisions and most of the opinions is that Martin, they are mostly fans and they're not mostly analytical. Because if you look at the game, I feel like the Pirates was very, very leaking. I'm a Pirates fan. They were very leaking. Because if you look at it very right, ECRP, the thing that it did, deep. The first 30 minutes I went by short. They played deep, very deep. They didn't expect to Tunkota Noban, Nomfuking, they was gonna make those runs. If Aban Balas Gatlipol, Mfuking, Mahopa is a natural poacher, he's always up there. But now in that game, was a deep lying forward. He was coming in and collecting the ball. It was like a false 9 to defuse the enemy because now he chose thought of another tactic. That's why I'm feeling second half. There's a reason why Belouizdad was actually a threat, because they were playing a high line, and that's the only way to beat the Pirates. They played the high line in order to stop Amapola Aza. Other than that, they played well. And I'm always gonna say this, because I don't know if you're young Bump. Sometimes I always don't like Umbata no Makaula in those same positions, because it's the same player. People can say Makaula Umbata played well. People can say Umbata was offline. But the real question is that who's the number 6 that's holding that circle? Who's the number 8? Because both of them are not number 8s. Both of them are not number 8s. There's no one who's creative, who can go up and down and create what's a chance. Because Makaula is a 6, he's not an 8. People can fight me. Makaula is an 8, he's not a 6. That's the first. The second thing is CRB. It's a quick attacking focus. They played the high line in order to babambe bani Uhoto, because they knew Uhoto was gonna come up, and they knew Gucci Umbata, that 6, that inverted 6, is gonna come back down and enforce Gucci ini. Usesane comes out left. Usbisa abe left center back. Let's say Umbata abe center back. If people are knowing that football, guys, then the right back Umunyan. If you kupo kusale 3 move kusale no Makaula as a 1. That was the expectation, because both of them are wing backs. They're not inverted wing backs, nor is it inverting. But if Boxer Kona Bani, Utino Van Royen were allowing Utino with Akate in. So me, I feel like Nay Pirates didn't play the way.
Can I ask you something? Sorry to go back. I want to ask you about that midfield question that you asked. How much does Tito influence this? Because where we've seen Mbata and maybe Makaula, that midfield work well, and you can correct me if I'm wrong, it's when Utito, some of the games Utito has been off. Because for me, I feel like if you play Makhupa and Tito and Makhupa is dropping in, it almost stops Mbata from running past, if that makes sense. And then usually when Utito angeko and they do that thing, Mbata runs past, and then I think it was when he was with Lamini, one of them then almost naturally becomes that proper 6, if that makes sense. How much does the inclusion of Tito work with this? And how much does the inclusion of Tito with Makhupa work on this whole scheme, such Jose?
Firstly, is system got Jose. It's allowing a poacher, not a false number 9. If false number 9 will that's the only time bazom allow. Because if you look at Ama's striking options with Pirates, Umakhopa is a poacher. Umabasa is a false 9. Lipasa is a poacher. Radio Pane is a poacher. So people must understand that Utito main role like is a free role. He understands what it needs. That's why people are comparing Utito no Ribeiro. Ribeiro and Tito are very too similar, not similar people, because Ribeiro is a more attacking one. Utito can calm down the momentum and the tempo of the game.
Yeah.
That's why I feel like Lento Leo Gucci Umbata becomes a box to box. He does sometimes, but still, there's a weakness there. And people aren't seeing, because Umakaula is actually slow. A 6 needs to be fast. It doesn't need to be slow. That's why I feel like Miguel team does the job, but people aren't seeing that. Miguel team does the job, but still at the end of the day, I'm gonna get criticism vele ngoma payane bazothi ngifivela Pirates or ngisho nje njani. Mara ngikhuluma iqiniso ukuthi thina singamapakani, we must stop looking this game as a fan side but also analytical, because yikho lapho sokhula khona singamapakani and also fans. That's why that midfield role is gonna cost us in a long run, and that wanting us to win the title.
Yeah. No.
I cost us that midfield.
Go.
Yeah, it was cost that because it was limaza kabuhlungu, because we need another midfield. I don't know, ngizwe abanye bathi Jordaan Adams, but I feel like if Sanga reintroduce and we convert Dlamini, because Dlamini when he was still at Bloom Celtic, if was a combination like Palane was more of a 6, then Dlamini became number 8. If we can reintroduce Dlamini, Simfage is that number 8. I'm telling you, we have won the league. We have won the CAF. We have went to the semi-final. Ganjalo, because we are building a team that's having an 8 and 6 Okijima and Jongombata and tall and robust. But I don't know then. What can I say?
But I want to ask you. I want to ask you. is this not the threat of African football? Because as amazing as Pirates has looked in the league locally and how they've played, if you go to the TS Galaxy game, TS Galaxy towards the end of the game was pushing and they were finding a lot of gaps in that Pirates midfield, but it's just that the decision making let them down. Does this now mean that Pirates has to now think about the last few minutes, because that's what African teams do a lot of the time? They can play trash for 75 minutes. Then in the last 15 minutes, they turn up the volume, they score 2 goals, they go home. Is there something Pirates has to learn? And how do they counter those? How do they play those last 15 minutes?
The last few minutes, okay. Pirates says, okay, I want a quote. A quote itan ukuthi matches, soccer matches are won kuma second halves. Says lokho ngithi. I win on the first half, match win on the second half, everything. Makanjalo. Tina a system yet, we need to change it. The way Sundowns creates a chameleon, is how Pirates needs to replicate it. Yeah, but because the system is being noticed, it's very leaking towards the end. Because Umakaula, he's ending the games, and Aganas is stamina. I'm always gonna say this: Makaula is not the right fit for Pirates at this time. At this time, Aban Bazosho is good, but at the long run, that's why Makaula is not right for the team. And I thought what we need to do is replicate a new system. Because they say we na vila last minute, but all I can say is Meletina sis cover up towards the last end, si keep my play, not is catable.
Okay. For time's sake, I'm gonna let in Usinje. CJ, don't worry, I'm gonna give you your time. Welcome. How are you?
Mr. Oti, man. Hey, you know what? Yeah, analyzing a team. You know what, Mr. Oti? There's a reason why there are 2 halves and there are 2 posts in a soccer match. Yeah. It is for you to score on both sides. You must score this side and you must score that side, and you must defend this side and you must defend that side. You know what? Taking on the Pirates, they only score one side, and the next day it was silent until the next half. I think Chiefs is the only team that mastered the proper way of playing soccer. Must score on both halves, and that's how it's done.
Yeah.
Well, secondly, I think Paris needs to learn to starve its opponent, in particular when you are going to play in Africa. You need to starve them. You need to be stingy. You need to be stingy with spaces. You need to be stingy with movement. You need to be stingy with pockets. And you need sometimes to be a little bit more. I want to agree with one of the speakers. They say you must look at how Jali protects the ball. And you cannot be bullied off the ball, man. You can't. Bata and Tito, they were just bullied. There was a time where they just take the ball from you. And I don't understand. Maybe it's that number 10 jersey. Maybe it went into his head. Now he's Kogu number 10 with Orlando Paris. Hey, now it's Monego Chaboson. I was like, hey. And now he's losing the ball. He's playing. I'm sure that before he got into the pitch, he asked the players to take a picture of him wearing that jersey number 10. Because, wow, it will never happen again unless they continue in Africa. But anyway, I also want to agree with I think Otto did not have a good game, but I would still play him, in particular in Africa. Why? Because you need players that can score on dead balls. Yeah, you need players that have the ability to score on dead balls and dead situation, and Otto is one of them. He's guaranteed a set piece. Free kick, quick play, he's got the ability to score. So Africa, you might not have chances. Then one dead ball, one goal, and you continue to the next stage. That's all it takes. So I'll still field him, but I think he also had didn't have a good game. What happened to Lepasa? Is he still a Paris player?
I don't know.
What happened to Zamalek? Imagine they made a song about you and you're not playing. Like we did here, Master KG, about Kabza Tesmoni, Mashaya Masaling, Saling, this, Saling, that, and now he's nowhere to be found. Where is he? Is he even on the starting 11? Does he even, are they both injured? Oh, thank you, Modumokus. Oh, shame. Oh, shame, they are
But
injured.
can I ask, Sinje, how important is game management going to be? Because I hear everything we're saying. Yes?
Sorry for that. I'll come back to this. But how important is game management?
Game management, because
very,
I feel like as South African teams, well, the South African teams we've seen, both Sundowns now, Mara, that last 15 minutes is where we seem to lose it, and it's almost like we have made ourselves believe that you have to suffer in those last 15 minutes. Isn't there a way to nullify? Especially the crosses, let's say.
I think when you go to Africa, you need to put the game beyond reach. Okay. And you have to do that in different stages as well. You have to put it behind the reach, in particular in the last 15 minutes of the game. You have to have a way of putting the game beyond reach in order for you to be able to just also knock the confidence out of your opponents as well. I was happy that Khanye Somayo scored as a South African watching the team. I mean, the team has been struggling. They're number 12 on the league. On their league as well. So it's a struggling team. So I'm happy to see that he scored. Maybe it's going to be a recognition to the coach that this is a player you should have started with in this particular game, because he knows
left back, right back, centre back. He was taking free kicks, headering the ball, taking corners.
You don't have a FIFA Pro A license. See, that's why you don't understand. You don't have a pro. You see, this is why you understand. You are busy analyzing football with these Pikinini PSL licenses that they have here. This Code C. Pro A license, players rotate. They rotate, my man. You saw with Chiefs.
I saw one man rotating. Rotating.
Did you see Chiefs? Napi has a pro license A, my man. Did you see Reeve Forsler was playing as a half 9, half 10, half 6, half 7? It's rotation, my man. Duba comes back, and we don't understand this thing, Mr. Oti, because you don't have a pro license A, pro license.
That was a pro license. That was a pro license hunger from Kaizer. I saw him start a move. I saw him start a move from right back and then head on the ball at the end of the move, and I said, "I Shem."
I want to agree with Manu Mukutso about Paris defense. I think I want to agree with him. They need to put some sort of vaccine by mixing turpentine, matubula and injection, and so that he comes back stronger and faster. Because I really saw that game, and I like it. They also need a defender, a defense pair that is also not going to be that they're going to be bullies. Some elbow here and there, some little bit Titiana play to just wrap a step. That this is the space. I mean, if Khanye Somayo can jump, Mayo, small as he is, can jump and score. That says a lot.
But that's what I want to ask, CJ. That's what I want to know. Is it not more of a positioning thing? Because Pirates defense did the same thing versus the Makesi, where it's not like Khanye Somayo or was it Abrams or Makubu, one of them. It's not like they were winning contested headers. It was more about it's the placement where it's like our Marakai. There's no one on the person. Forget about the cross. Inside, is Pirates working enough on those type of things? Even Sundowns, we saw it be a problem for them too.
Yeah, Mr. Oti, what's going on here? Oh yes, I'm back. Hey. You go to Shabagaba Mulubukutu. I'm going to work. But as I was saying, I think I want to agree with you as well in terms of the. Placement, it's a problem. Even with Chiefs, if you look at the score, the goal that was scored, even with them, it was an issue of placement and reading aerial balls. as defenders, anticipating where the ball is going to land, and scanning who's behind you. I mean, I couldn't understand why even Simamo wasn't scanning to see who's behind him to understand where the ball is intended to. Because if you know who's behind you, and then you can anticipate where the ball is going, so you can fix your position as a central defender as well, because you are anticipating where the ball is going to go. I feel like that one was like, I don't believe 3 players. It was not just Khanye Somayo. It was 3 players that could have headed that ball.
Yeah.
Imagine 3 players not being marked and ready to head the ball into the net. That for me is a concerning issue, not just with Pirates, maybe with our central pairing as well.
But for time, I'm gonna jump in, Sinja. Thank you so much for joining me. Guys.
Yes. One other thing that I think maybe would have missed in that Chiefs game. I think Dupree's got a knock on that play when he scored, because I saw him when he was running, he kept on holding on his thigh. Maybe that's why they substituted him and put Saleh took him out, because I think he's also on the verge of being transferred elsewhere. They don't want him to have an injury. Otherwise, other than that, Bakani, I don't see them going further than the group stages, and they must come back home and save parents money, because they're spending on flights, on
You were
fuel.
doing so well. Every time. Okay, my thoughts are very simple about this game. I think Pirates is still a very good team. I think Pirates this season has a level of calm that they didn't have in previous seasons. I think the only difference is that PSL, being calm in the PSL and being calm in Champions League is 2 different things. We saw some of the signs of a late game, I don't know how to determine it, late game uncomfortableness from Pirates when you've been watching like the TS Galaxy games and things. It's just that they're not at the level where they can take advantage of these things. And I feel like South African teams, the weakness that they have is that we don't necessarily face this type of caliber of team a lot. So for example, outside of Vilakazi, there isn't really another team that knows how to score by crosses. So do you get to practice those type of things? The reason why I bring this up for Orlando Pirates is that African football, we know what African football is. Most of them don't play games. They're not in the game up to the last end of the game. That's when you'll see teams jump in and they'll start waking up. Ahly does this a lot where they score late. You look at how Sundowns has been knocked out a few times of the Champions League. It's been late where they've looked like they have the possession. They have the upper hand. They have everything. Jiggy, you're now on a flight back home, right? So that's something that Paris is going to learn. And when I'm speaking about the last parts of games, I don't think that the cross has to be stopped, or you have to worry about the cross once it gets into the box. That's a very dangerous game to play if you're playing versus teams that know what to do with the ball. I think you have to look at how you position yourselves in defense. I always say that even when you go into parking the bus mode, there's teams that park the bus by throwing players, just thinking that having more defenders on the pitch is going to help you. Look at Chiefs, almost drew that game versus Richards Bay because they just threw people on. Then you look at teams like that old Burnley team under Sean Dyche, where you could tell there's 2 backs of 4. They're shifting, they're doing this, they're making sure they know how to do it. And I feel like South African teams, we need to learn some of that as well. Where maybe instead of having all these people on the pitch and then Abom Fukeng up there doing something different, maybe you teach everybody to come back and hold shape and try and stop the cross from when it's halfway. So from halfway line, if we're in defense, you should be looking at a Pirates player before you even see Hotto. Before you even get the chance to get to him, you'll have to try beat someone, even if it means Umfukeng stands in front of the man and it's just somebody who's just a cone that gives you a hurdle, being an obstacle to get past. Because the type of damage that those African teams do is not going to be like Richards Bay versus Chiefs, for example, right? Richards Bay, for example, where later on in the game they could have gotten something. We need to do those type of things. Let's remember that team Ahly failed to beat them, but Pirates did. Well, look, another thing about African football, guys, let's be honest, there's like 6 really good teams. And a lot of the time, the group stages don't matter too much. Ahly got beaten by Sundowns 5-0 or 5-2, right? But knowing that they're going into the group stages, they won that tournament, if I'm not mistaken. So, hey, there's a lot of things, man, about African football that doesn't make sense. But my point is, for me, there's lessons that you learn that you just need to fix. I don't think Pirates is a bad team. I don't think they played particularly bad versus Belouizdad. I think Nkota had a couple of chances there that he could have closed out the game. They had a great game. But African football doesn't care for your great games. How many games have we watched where Mamelodi Sundowns was having the game of their lives and went home? Think about it. We did 2-2. Mamelodi Sundowns was in the pound seats. They were playing well. They were doing everything. They lost that semi-final back then. So that's maybe where Pirates needs to show up. But I think Pirates did very well. I think even where there's things we can question, you can question the midfield. I still want to know, you guys said preliminary rounds don't matter. Pirates passed that test, now group stages. No, Sandiso, they matter. But when you look at the teams that make it to the finals of the semis and the finals of these tournaments very rarely have a team that is not a wee dad who's not in this tournament. Ahly, your ES Tunisi's King, ES Tunis, Etoile du Sahel, your Mamelodi Sundowns, it's always the same teams that end up there. That's why I'm saying that it's not in the sense that these group stages don't matter. It's that for those teams, if you're counting Ahly and Ahly loss in the group stages, usually it doesn't mean nothing. They'll still be in the final. That's what I'm trying to say. So again, Pirates didn't do badly. We're not analyzing to say that Pirates did something wrong. We're analyzing to say these are the things that may hurt you. So you cannot have versus northern teams and those type of teams. You cannot have people having free headers in the box. And those free headers are not something that came only in CAF. We saw similar things with Imakesi. And the point that I made earlier was very simple. Makesi is the only team in the PSL that you're going to face that has that type of aerial threat where Tirambadare will always pinpoint the thing. Another team maybe is Supersport, but they're missing out on having Bradley Grobler. So now, how do you make it harder for Mayo to get a header off during a corner when you're playing versus a good team like that? How do you make it harder for a team that we know is crossing to get the ball into the box into those situations? What do? I'm suggesting, instead of having your front guys running around aimlessly for a lot of the game, when pressure time comes, make sure that there's people, that there's obstacles. I mentioned the Chelsea. When Chelsea was playing Barcelona, they knew Barcelona was better. They knew Barcelona was going to come at them. And what did they do? Hey, Torres, you have to go play right back, buddy. So now we're going to play with a back six, back seven to make sure that that defensive line is stretched up, so that now it's even harder for you to get to the defender. But if you're allowing these guys to just cross the ball, and you're putting Hoto, I won, Lapa, or expecting Hoto to do something, I won. That's the thing. But anyway, I actually think Pirates' game is well suited to Africa. I think what we saw from that first half with the running that they had, with the in-behind runs, the only matter I have with the front is I don't think Tito and Makgopa can be effective in the same team, especially if Makgopa is dropping back to play a false nine or trying to win the first ball. I'm also questioning Pirates a little bit on the fact that you've now seen a few times that Makgopa dropping in and flicking the ball or dropping in and winning the first ball is highly effective. Why don't you do that more times? Why am I seeing Makgopa running around on the wing? What are you gaining from Makgopa being on the wing? You know, what are you getting from that action? Because that takes out Nkota, who can't play centrally like that, even though finally scored. That takes out Mfukeng, who, let's face it, goes missing for most of the game. Mfukeng ageko. You get me? So maybe Pirates needs to look at those type of things. I'm being asked the question, do you think 9 points will be enough? Yeah, 9 points is usually fine. If you can win your home games, that's usually enough to see it through. I just want to make sure of the table. The table for Pirates, Ahly is number 1, you're number 2, CRB and Stade Bijan. I don't think Stade Bijan is going to do anything here. Let's also not forget that CR Belouizdad is a struggling team. They're currently number 12 in their own league. You know, they can't score. The stats say that CR Belouizdad has 7 goals scored and 5 goals conceded from the 8 games that they've played in their league right now. They're sitting on 10 points, number 12. So I don't think that they are as dangerous as what you think of an AS FAR or a Raja, for example. And I think Pirates is good enough to finish number 2, possibly even number 1. We know that Ahly drops points during these things. So let's see how it plays out. Pirates just has to do well in their home games. Guys, I'm going to close it because I see that we don't have enough time for me to bring in somebody else. Lindo is going to be starting his show at 9. Lindo Pep, at Lindo Pep. The TTB show is going to start at 9 o'clock. So all I'm going to ask for is, if you have not followed, please follow. Thank you to Gustavo. Thank you to Lulu the Boss Lady, Casper Sundowns, and PK for the gifts on that side. Thank you to those that are watching on YouTube and watching here. I will be back on Saturday. So Saturday, we're going to wake up early, 3 a.m. We're going to be watching Banyana versus Jamaica. Then we're going to come back in the afternoon and do a watch along of the Chiefs game and the Sundowns game after that. I drop content every single day. So if you want the longer version of what I feel about these matches, they are available in full on YouTube. You can go there and watch. And please, guys, like, support, share, do everything that you can to help us, guys. Help us build. We're content creators. There's not many places where we find platforms like this. There's not many places where you hear fans speaking. It's usually former coaches, a presenter, a former coach, right? But let's all come and support us, guys. When we ask for money or we ask for gifts and things like that, it's not to say that we're asking these things just for fun. We're keeping our rent up. This is not Supersport production. I don't have a monthly subscription like a DSTV. But when you guys come in, please, man, please can you support us when you come here. Share the stuff. Speak about the stuff. Do all of that. Especially when it comes to Instagram too. Especially when it comes to spreading the word. Everybody says, yeah, there's an account number in my profile. Everybody says, hey, you guys are doing well. We need more shows like this and all of that. But then look trend about junior khanye and people that are saying negative things and all of those type of things. Not to say that they're bad. So help us out, Nati, Ferrani. Let people know. Put us up. Put these things in so that we can also grow and get to different points. So please, guys, I have an account number in my profile. So in the link on my profile, click on it. There's an account number. It's a Capitec number. Support, guys. Right now we're doing these things. Hey, my laptop doesn't have a screen right now, for example. So we're trying to build and do all of these things. So please, I accept dollars. I expect everything. Let 20 rand sharp. Guys, it's been amazing. At Lindo Pep, he's going to be starting now at 10. So please support us. I'll see you guys then Saturday, 3 a.m. Bye, everyone.